This is the sluggo, slant and go.
Casey the Beef Cregan. It's episode 42. It's another Wednesday. You know what that means?
Time for Sluggo.
I got a new letter from New Day USA Mortgage. These folks are keeping the U.S. Postal Service in business because I swear I get 2 a week, maybe 3. Now, I don't know if they're just picking on me or every veteran is getting this. So vets out there, let me know.
Yeah, you love that. It's so funny looking in the mailbox every day. And hey, Kevron, how are you, pal? Thanks for checking in from Cope. It's just so funny that the stuff that you get in the mail every day. We'll get 6 to 8 pieces of mail, and literally 7 of them go right in the trash. It's crazy. Junk
mail is keeping the post office in business. The other thing I get a lot of is life insurance from the credit unions we're a member of. We're members of a couple. They keep sending us over and over and over life insurance. That happens when you get old, Beef. Next couple of years, you'll start to get something from what is it? That
AARP.
AARP. It's a rite of passage, man. AARP. Speaking of rites of passage, Clemson baseball was on quite the roll there for a while. Took 7 out of 8, swept a good BC team, I would say, top 25 BC team, and then fell flat on their face last night. No runs. Well, I think last time I heard they had 4 hits, but just nothing at all from the offense that was so potent over the weekend. Impotent last night.
Yeah.
Insert your own joke.
Clemson baseball, man. It's an enigma for us. They looked so good against the preseason ACC pitcher of the year on Friday night, even though Clemson kind of didn't have it on the defensive side of the ball on Friday night, but that was a fun game to watch. It took about 17 hours, but it was a lot of fun, and they battled all weekend long. Even in that game, they really, really battled, and it kind of got the juices going again. It kind of got you excited. Caden Grice, good night. Irene, every time he came up Friday night, he did something. I know my joke is or my feeling, and it's become a joke here, is scary hitter. He was a scary hitter on Friday night, no doubt about it. Every time he came up, you felt like something was going to happen, and it did.
Well, he got his slugging over 700. Now I don't know if that went down last night. I think he had 3 walks last night at least. So
that's a good Georgia team they played last night, and midweek game.
So?
I mean, once again, I'm contradicting myself big time because they gave up 2 runs, so they should have won, right? I mean, That's my theory. 3 runs or less in college baseball, you should win. If you're giving up 3 runs or less in college baseball game, you should win that game if your offense is any good. I just thought Georgia played well, I guess. I know they're not what they used to be. I would watch a regional down there in Athens.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm coming from. They're not bad. I'm not saying that. They looked almost as lifeless as Clemson.
They're not an upper level SEC team. How about that?
Yeah, fair enough.
They're not at the bottom either.
That's true too. You know who is at an upper level is the Clemson softball team. My takeaways from the softball game that I watched the other day, Millie Thompson's stare is intense as 1,000 white-hot suns, man. She was not messing around. Just the look on her face. Rarely do I see a baseball pitcher in college look as intense as she did in that game the other day. And it was fabulous, man. It was great. And of course, the other thing is Valerie Cagle is triple threat. She's thrown somebody out from left field. She's thrown somebody out from right field. She's hit the ball over center, right, and left. And she's a closer and a starter. What is this girl, young lady, what can she not do?
There is nothing that she can't do. Back to Millie Thompson for a second. It was funny because they asked John Rittman at the end of the series about the different personalities between Cagle and Thompson. And Cagle is kind of cool, calm, and collected in the circle. And then you had Millie, who was definitely making faces. She was definitely feeling like if she missed a strike, she definitely knew it, that she was not happy that she didn't get the call, I should say. She was fantastic on Sunday, and kind of lost in the weekend was that she was fantastic Friday afternoon as well. Really, really strong performances from Cagle on the bump. That's not on the bump. In the circle, 17 innings pitched. She pitched 250 pitches this weekend. She gave up only 12 hits, 10 strikeouts. She gave up 4 runs, and here's the funniest stat line of the week. She was 1-2 with 1 save. So I was telling our friend of the show, Nelson Wilhite, that after Friday afternoon, I was trying to conjure up a way to spin it for this show today. And then they really showed up. They lost 2 games Friday afternoon, and then they showed up Saturday and won a really hard-fought game 4-1, where Mackenzie Clark and Valerie Cagle again at the dish were the key cogs in the wheel. And then Sunday was just a great game. Duke took an early lead, and Clemson just kept battling. They walked Valerie Cagle 3 times, twice intentionally, once in the first inning. It was intense. Sunday's game was fantastic, really hard fought. Duke is fantastic. They're a really good team. I guess my word of the day is fantastic. It was just a really fun series. Clemson split the series with the number 1 team in the ACC, number 11 ranked team in the country. They're currently ranked 18th, Clemson is. They play North Carolina this weekend at 11-8, North Carolina team. Pretty good team. 3 of the top hitters in the conference. Christina Burkhart, Kirsten Lycia, and Bree Stubbs. Really, the long ball is the Kirsten Lycia. She's got 5, and they got a really good pitcher as well, Brittany Pickett, 10-4 on the season. She's pitched in 15 games, and they've only played 19. So doing a little bit more than Cagle, but not they're kind of the same, in the same mold. Their losses are to good teams: Bama, Troy, Memphis, South Carolina, Notre Dame twice, and Syracuse. It should be a good series this weekend at McWhorter Stadium.
Hey, we've got a fight in the comments. John Chansey says Gilstrap's playing great too, and Nelson says that Chansey missed the first game on Friday. I think there were some errors Friday. We forgive them, Nelson. They're dang good, and they're dang fun to watch.
She did have one on Friday that may have led to a run, but she was equally as good on Saturday and Sunday. Ansley Gilstrap is the straw that stirs the drink for the whole team. She is the true leader on the squad. She's fantastic. She plays a really good shortstop. Yes, she did have an error this weekend. I think she dropped the fly ball too, but all forgiven because she was good at the plate as well. I think there was a game she had 2 hits.
The horror of making an error. And the baseball team, on Friday, you were talking about that. Back to that for a second. What did they have? 16 runs, 16 hits, and 6 errors. Had 6 errors and came out with the win. Just wild. But I just couldn't get over Millie Thompson's intensity, man. A true freshman, it's not like a grizzled, I guess, can I call a softball player a grizzled veteran. She was in high school last year, and here she is pitching against one of the better teams in the ACC, obviously, and in the nation. It was a lot of fun to watch. But like I said, her look reminded me of my mom when she found out I cashed my brother's $6 check from cutting the neighbor's lawn, and I didn't think I'd ever see that look again. Rest in peace, Mom. I didn't think I'd ever see that look again, but I was sure reminded of it with Millie Thompson on the mound. Spring football games coming up Saturday, Casey, and everybody's talking about what they want to see. Friend of the show, Jason Priester, is writing article after article about what to look for from this position, that position. Go read Jason's article. JP is a great friend of the show. He comes on whenever we ask. But you know what I'm looking for Saturday? I'm looking for nobody to get injured, because I don't think you can tell a dang thing from the spring game because guys aren't playing. Guys have different red jerseys, yellow jerseys, whatever. You can't hit half the guys. There's no tackling. Remember 2 years ago, we saw Sheridan Jones run back an interception, right? A pick six in the spring game. And I thought, man, this guy's about ready to take off as a true freshman. And, we haven't seen very much of him. So all I want to see is no injuries. Remember, Swag Kelly got hurt in the spring game. And I want to see some backup quarterback that can hand off. That's about all I'm asking for.
Yeah, it seems to be that way. It's a culmination of spring practice, and it's great for the fans to get out there. And I think it's one of those things that we all just want to talk about. We need to see the players. We need to see the depth. But a lot changes between April and August when they come back and start fall practice, fall camp. A lot changes. Bodies change. People get injured, unfortunately. So it's a fun experience. It's a fun event. I'm glad that there's going to be people in the stands that are able to see it. I enjoyed going to the couple that I went to over the course of my 15 years in school and then living down there. But yeah, you just want to come out injury free, get a taste of what the team will look like. I think one thing for me, I want to see the running backs. I want to see how they're looking, and I want to see the DBs because that's where Clemson is really pretty thin.
Well, they're certainly thin at backup quarterback. We know that. I don't know who's going to be out there Saturday because the two youngest guys aren't even on campus yet, I don't believe.
Right.
So you got Tyson and DJ and Hunter Helms, I guess. So I guess, hey, Brent Venables, didn't he play quarterback from time to time?
Jimmy Greenbeans.
John Chansey says, I'm curious to see how they separate quarterbacks. What quarterbacks, John? Really, you only have three. There you go. Spires going back there. That'd be cool. That'd be interesting.
I bet they do. That'd
be Dabo all over, would it?
Yeah.
Let's see. Look who's checking in here, Case. You're Irish.
Oh, God. The 2021 National Championship in fencing. Next week, I'm going to give you a breakdown on the fencing National Championship. Who'd they beat? That's what I want to know.
Who'd they out-fence, you should say.
That's right.
But back to the spring game. I'm just hoping nobody gets injured. I mean, yeah, you like to see some plays. I get fooled every year, though, right? First it was I can't remember his name. There was a receiver a few years ago who had a great spring, and I thought he was going to break out, and he ended up redshirting and then transferring a year later or so. Then it was Sheridan Jones. So
TJ Chase.
Got no idea what we're going to see Saturday. Just nobody get hurt, which you think would not be too hard considering there's not going to be a lot of tackling and stuff. But
and that's I think why I want to see the running backs a little bit too is because that's what people are saying on these message boards and on the Facebook pages, on JP's page that he has on Facebook. It's Kobe Pace is now the leader. Well, yeah, well, why? Because you heard Dabo talk about how good he was doing in practice. Yeah, you just want to see it a little bit, and we're not the coaches, right? But we still want to see who he throws out there first. Heck, I mean, whatever happened to Ches Malusi? We forgot about him already. Lynn J. Dixon is going to be the lead dog, at least to start. That's Dabo's MO. He's going to give his seniors or upperclassmen the first chance, the first right of refusal, if you will. And then the guys behind him are going to fall in line, kind of rank and file. So it's going to be fun to watch the recruit out of Charlotte and Kobe Pace and Phil Maffa and it's going to be fun.
Yeah. The recruit
I'm going to watch it. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll definitely watch it, but I'm saying that my biggest takeaway is if nobody gets injured, I'm happy with it.
What's Dabo's line? There's nothing less important than the score at halftime. I think there's a ... And after that, it says, "End the spring game."
Well, if the score's 42-0 halftime is pretty important, as we found out years ago against Wake Forest or whatever it was, right? Sure. All right. Hey, Casey, I don't know if you knew this, but the transfer portal, that's a new thing, and a couple of people are in there. I don't know how my guy College Football Blitz keeps up with it, right? There's 50 a day. And now, like, half of teams are entering the portal. I think one basketball team lost 3 guys in the same day. And so the theory is that these guys want to transfer because they want more playing time. But guess what? If everybody's transferring, they got to go somewhere. And it seems like some of them would be better off staying where they are. They're going into situations where, they may not get a scholarship. One, they have to give up their scholarship. They may not get a scholarship, and there may be, 2 or 3 transfers. Look at Oklahoma; they're getting them by the bucket load in football. We got a little surprise today, though. Clyde Trapp. This was I've had some reverse transfer portals and the double reverse transfer portals, but this is like a transfer portal with a side of NBA draft in it. What's going on with Clyde Trapp?
Yeah, he's leaving Clemson. He put his spin on it on Twitter, talking about how much he loved Clemson and will always be a part of them, but he's going to try his hand at the NBA draft combine and playing professionally. Or if that doesn't work out, then he's going to use his extra year to be a grad transfer because he's graduating in May. I know. I saw that, Ryan. I know it's the mirrors image. Anyway, so it's just he's graduating in May, so he's done. He was in all of the festivities for the seniors because he is a senior. I don't think this was a known loss. I said this a lot better before the show when you and I were talking about it, but we knew he was leaving. Yes. I think it wasn't like, oh God, here's the 4th player that we're losing. No, it's we knew Trapp, Bear, Sims, and then Newman transferred and Omax transferred. So technically, we kind of knew the 3 were already leaving. The 2 that are the surprises were John Newman and Omax Prosper.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I was surprised with the NBA. I just thought he was gone, as you said. They basically told us at the end of the year, like you said, he was in the senior awards or whatever. And it's just weird. It's just like the transfer portal. Half of me thinks that it's out of control, and the other half of me thinks it's just a natural process of something new, and eventually it's going to calm down. And these young men and ladies are going to find out it's not always greener on the other side. And after a year or so, it will calm down, because it's only going to take a few stories of Tom Rinaldi saying guys didn't get scholarships, when they went through the transfer portal, and before people will start to realize it's not always greener on the other side. That said,
that's why you kind of go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that said, I mean, I'm all for their freedom of movement, just like I could change my job at any time.
Yeah. That's very true too. It's disappointing, right? Because it's your team, and you want everyone to stay and graduate and play 12 years. And but it's also the flip side is like you want your guys that you fall in love with, that are your team's players, to sign somewhere quickly. And that's why I was kind of relieved today when I saw that John Newman has committed to go to UNC Greensboro.
Makes sense.
So it's not, he's from the area, so it made perfect sense for him. Easy slot, fill and probably be a star or a good player for a team that usually contends for a NCAA berth. But that's why I'm always always checking the Twitter and especially college football blitz. Who's in the portal, and if it's a Clemson guy, how quickly can they sign somewhere else? Because you don't want to hear about a guy leaving Clemson and then having nowhere to sign, because that's going to happen. I mean, it's inevitable that there's not enough spots for the amount of kids that are in the transfer portal. I heard South Carolina doesn't have any players. I know that's probably an exaggeration, but I think they've lost a ton too.
You could argue they didn't have any during the season. Hey, here I guess it could fundamentally shift the way I feel about college sports, because what you alluded to earlier is you like to follow a guy for 4 years. Amir Sims, right? Young guy, contributed his freshman year, but you could see the potential, but you knew he wasn't a one and done or 2 or 3 and done, right? He had to grow and he had to learn, and he did. And you watched him through his career. Your team is going to change theoretically every year. I mean, not just by 1 or 2 players, which is, you helped me out, got more experience than I am. The basketball team, you change 2, 3 players a year. Now you could change 8, 9 every year, theoretically, right? You have some seniors, you have a guy who goes pro, you have a guy who fails out, and you got 3 guys in transfer portal, and your team looks nothing like it did last year. It's actually theoretically worse than free, and worse maybe not be the right word, but more impactful than free agency, because at least then you've got a contract. If you're there 3 years, you got to stay 3 years. And in college sports now, you don't have to stay 5 minutes, right? I mean, you're gone whenever you want to.
Yeah, it is. And they always say scholarships are a yearly thing. You know, you get offered a scholarship, it's actually renewable year by year. I think basketball has 13 scholarships, I believe is what they have. And most rosters have 16 players. So to me, that means you have 3 walk-ons or preferred walk-ons maybe that might be getting some academic money. But you're exactly right. When now it's going to be 8 players. So whereas the one and dones kind of had a set of years, and they're still going to be there, but like, you know, Duke said, finally, screw it, we're going to go get one and dones because we need to be able to compete at the highest level. They were able to do that. That was like the hot thing. Obviously, you had to have some skill. Now the really hot thing is, and you don't have to have much skill, is the transfer portal, that you could just up and leave. Hey, I'm good. I played a year somewhere. I didn't play a lot, so I'm just going to leave. North Carolina has a ton of guys that have left as well. Duke had another one today. They've had a few. Miami, a couple during the year. Duke had one during the year. It's going to be a brand new team, and we're seeing it as Clemson fans that we're going to see at least 5 new people. And Brownell's been pretty good at getting some quality players from the portal. But Clemson's going to get at least 5 players, especially with the decommit.
Well, and here's the thing. You got to re-recruit guys every year. I heard that on a podcast during football season, and maybe not even every year, maybe within a year, right? You got to keep recruiting guys constantly, whereas in the old days, you recruit them, they sign, they're there, at least for a year, potentially 3. But now it's just you recruit them and they're not happy with you as a coach, or maybe a more serious issue, but they're not happy with you as a coach, or the girlfriend breaks up with them, or whatever. They could be gone tomorrow, and you got to re-recruit them, kind of like C.J. Spiller. They had to re-recruit. Yeah, I was going to go to John's comment.
This is a great comment here, because what this also shows is parity in college basketball. Is that a guy like Nick Honor can go to Fordham, lowly recruited, and then transfer to an ACC school and have some impact. And I know some Clemson fans were down on him late in the year, but he won a game for them, always came up with the big stops, especially after the 9-1 start. He was fantastic. A guy like Jonathan Bear, comes from UNC Asheville, plays some impactful minutes for Clemson, did a really nice job. So you have some guys. Where did oh my God, I forgot his name. I'm having a tough day. But Brownell's had a knack of getting guys from the lesser schools, what we're calling lesser schools, not the group of 5 or below that, and making them into decent players at Clemson. There was a guard that played with Bobby Buckets. Who was the guard that played with Bobby Buckets?
I can't think of the name either. We're too old guys.
Lord.
Memories are shot. We need some Ginkgo biloba. And
John Chancey knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah, what I was going to say, there are other guys, even lesser schools than that. Here I am probably using bad phrase again, but there was a big transfer from VMI that guys were after and thought Clemson may be on. He's going to go from VMI maybe to an ACC school. So there are guys all over the place. Winthrop's Bug point guard was a D2 player. Oh, big. Yeah. I was like, Bug? Yes,
we allow typos here.
Yeah, if you see my text to Beef during the day, we allow and endorse typos. We embrace typos at the old literally fat fingers on the old text machine. Hey, speaking of big losses, Clemson lost one. Just J.P. Priester came on here last week and told us about a linebacker out of North Carolina, Jalon Walker, that he thought was going to go to Clemson. Everybody did. But shortly after the show, he reached out and contacted me and said, hey, got some news. Not looking good. They lost this guy to Georgia. Lost Jalon Walker to Georgia. And a lot of Clemson fans think the ceiling is caving in on the recruiting, and it's horrible, and we need to go get 19 transfers to fill all these open spots in the 2022 class. What's your take, Beef?
Yeah, I saw a lot of it on the Facebook pages, whether it was the discussion board or JP's Clemson Junkies page. There was a lot of of people even going after JP, and they all had, everyone has it's a good point of view, but I'm not saying one's right or wrong, but it immediately goes to, is Clemson falling behind in recruiting? And I think the point of it is they're going to lose guys often, for the amount of scholarships they actually offer to players. It's such a small sample size. They obviously want the player. So when they lose one, it's a big deal, because if you're putting 50 scholarships out there, you need 22 guys, and you're losing one. Well, now you have 49 and 48 and 47. And we thought that we were getting Ty Simpson. And, there was a whole bunch of players that you're going to lose. So then you start getting nervous. So I understand the nervous energy that's coming out. And I understand that players can't get on Clemson's campus. And that's really the selling point. This has brought out the stupid in a lot of people. Absolutely. And another thing that I noticed is that Clemson hasn't had the number one recruiting class, I think, other than one time. So they're not falling behind Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia. They've been behind Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia for the majority of the run. So, the sky is not falling, Clemson fans. It is just we lost an opportunity to have a kid on campus, and it's not that he's not fit to be a Clemson man, because as JP said, he obviously was enough to get an offer. He was thought highly of by the coaching staff to get an offer, so he was Clemson worthy, and he just decided to go somewhere else. And if you look at the linebacking room, there's not a lot of open air there for a kid coming in. So maybe all of a sudden Kirby presented him a menu of, here's what you're up against there. Here's what you're up against here. Where would you want to go? I mean, it could have been that easy. And it's an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's swayed by different things. And,
sure.
and just for whatever reason, he decided on Georgia. I'm fine with that. I watched his announcement. Seemed like a great young man. I wish him nothing but the best. Look, he had to make a decision, and he made it. And good luck to him. That's great. The sky is not falling.
It's funny. Here's who I am. I'm gonna open the curtain a little bit. I'll forget who he is next year. So I can't see, and I like recruiting. I like following it a little bit, but I'm not going to remember him at all next year.
Like Dabo says, you worry about the ones you get, not the ones you don't get. But when you will remember him, when he makes a fantastic play for Georgia in a couple of years, and there's that guy on Twitter who wants to remind, a Clemson fan on Twitter that will want to remind every other Clemson fan, if Brent Venables wasn't so terrible, we would have had this guy in our locker room. And that's what John Chancey's talking about when he says, brings out the stupid in a lot of people. Some people are questioning Brent Venables. Are you kidding me? I mean, he forgot how to coach and recruit because one guy chose Georgia. It's just ridiculous.
Nelson's comment is good too. It is starting to bite a little bit, but relax. As Aaron Rodgers said a couple of years ago, relax. RELAX.
There's nothing we can do about it, and I preach that. It seems like every day I'm bringing up, every week I'm bringing up Parker, but I preach that to Parker. Worry about the things you can worry about. The old saying: if you can't do anything about it, there's no use in worrying about it. And that's kind of how I look at recruiting. And I know it's probably bad for this show because people want to talk recruiting, and we're happy to do it. And we'll
that's how you watch games. You
right.
Tell me that's how you watch games. Yeah. You don't let it be the end all be all, and that's okay. And we don't like to tell people how to be fans, but we're going to be our own fans the way we are. So some people are going to take this and see it as the sky is falling. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I think, in my opinion, it's just another guy that we missed on. Okay, oh well, who's the next one? Next guy up. That's been the mentality for Clemson forever. So the next guy up. We didn't get him. Okay, see ya. Good luck. Bye.
It opens up room for another guy who, who knows? May be better, may end up being better, may work out better. Who knows?
Get a Nolan Turner type, or get a Renfro type. Get somebody that's under the radar. A Grady Jarrett type that you're getting late. ETN was late, remember?
Yeah.
He was decent.
Yeah, pretty good. But I've heard Kobe Pace may be better than him. That's another Twitter fight we need to talk about sometime. Hey, we've already had some talk about this in the comments, but it looks like the dead period will end on May 31st. They're setting up some visits in June. Not just Clemson. I saw some Florida, players announcing they got officials to Florida in June. So it looks like that's going to happen. And we know my boy Cade Klubnik is recruiting for Clemson out there, trying to get some more members of the class of 22 to allay some of these Clemson Tiger fears. So hopefully they'll get on campus in June.
Yeah, it should be good. I mean, if they can have that cookout or something that resembles that cookout for the juniors and seniors, if they can have maybe even a week or two of camp that they can set up. I'm not sure what the NCAA is going to do, but at least lift in this dead period to not be cold or whatever they're calling it. The thawed out period or whatever. I don't know. It will be good. Yeah.
JP's comment is one that I want to hit on because it's something that I brought up a roundabout way a few shows ago. You don't want to have 47 recruits if you're Clemson 47 transfers if you're Clemson football. That's not what you're about. I want Clemson to be different in that way, right? Now, if they take a transfer and he's really good, am I going to turn it down? No. But don't lose a recruit and go out and get, a 3-star kid who's been at 4 places because he's been in trouble all the time. Just take your time, chillax, and recruit the next guy, as Beef said. Man, we're agreeing too much, Beef.
I do like that. They are adapting as much as they can, but he's exactly right. If it comes down to culture and that's what your selling point. Your selling point is your culture. You get them in the Reeves facility. You show them the slide. As dumb as our rivals think it is, it's something that sells. You go out and play and shoot hoops with Dabo. Dabo's playing horse with all the recruits. You go to Dabo's house for dinner when you're on a recruiting trip. I mean, they just feel the love and they talk to other players when they're there. They go out, they hang out with the players. It is. I know that happens a lot of places, but there is something in those hills, as they say. And once they get on campus, it's a huge selling point. So yes, it's probably hurt Clemson in the short run, but in the long run, as soon as this stuff starts opening up a little bit and we are moving that direction, we'll see it. We'll see it turn. We'll see it turn back. I truly believe that. I trust the staff. Haven't they gained enough equity to us as fans? Even me, the most pessimistic Clemson fan that it lives, still believes that something good is at the end of this rainbow here.
Well, here's the other thing. Recruiting, there's 2 things I want to say. Recruiting is cyclical. I can remember, I'm old enough to remember when Texas was on top of their game and Mac was hooking everybody. They thought it would never end, right? Oh man, we're Texas. We're getting our own network. We're Texas. We're the flagship. We got the hook. And what could go wrong? All of a sudden,
3 coaches later,
they weren't in the flavor of the month anymore, right? And it's taken them a decade, and they're still trying to get back. So I'm going to enjoy Clemson going 11-1 or 12-0 or whatever it is, and I'm not going to worry if Jalon Walker wants to go to Georgia. The second thing is people are so spoiled. I saw this on Twitter the other day. There's a lot of younger Clemson fans that didn't live through the years that you and I and JP and Nelson lived through, right? So when you only get the number 74 ranked player in the nation, Cade Klubnik, and you miss out on the 42, it's the worst thing in the world that you got the number 74 player in the nation. I'm getting worked up now. It is not bad to have the 4th quarterback. Now, granted, you were up there battling for number 2, but who knows where these guys are in 3 years? Is one of them going to be Hunter Johnson? Or is one of them going to, be Chase Bryce or Trevor Lawrence? Probably not Trevor, but you get my point.
Johnny Manziel
Right. Yeah. You don't know where these guys are going to be in 3 years. So let it play out.
Nelson brings up a good comment here that Alabama's class was barely ranked at this point last year. Heck, Rutgers is top 10 class right now. So
yeah, we've talked about that before.
That's what we should. I think they're 11, but they got a 4-star running back today out of Philly. So Relax, Clemson fans, relax.
Yeah, and
Nice.
by the way, there's a reason that
Nice.
Mac was called Coach February, because he got everybody in February and didn't do crap except for 1 year in the fall.
Well, there is that joke on Twitter: who wins the preseason national championship? And I think Georgia had like 18 years running until Pickens got hurt, and now we're now I don't know who's going to win. Maybe South Carolina wins it this year.
Yeah. Oh no, I doubt it.
You want me to sing? I'll sing. I'll sing.
Oh, please, no, don't sing.
This water is hitting hard.
All right. Chop and Beef Show coming up tomorrow. Y'all guys going to record tomorrow because I've been looking forward to the baseball preview, and tomorrow is opening day. So Chop and Beef tomorrow with baseball preview.
Amazing. Absolutely. You know, we did happen to have to miss last week. Just unforeseen circumstances didn't allow us, and schedules, quite honestly, didn't allow us to record. So we're back. We kind of have our best shows after a week hiatus. So I'm excited. The boys are excited. I got the pre-show meeting in my phone right now. It looks like a jam-packed, nonsensical, really fun show tomorrow. And if there's time, there'll be a baseball preview.
Are there any food reviews? I mean, I haven't eaten at Taco Bell in like 25 years, but you guys are making me want to have Taco Bell. Well, part of you are, and the other part is not.
Don't. If you get the chance, don't. And until they sponsor our show, one of the two of my shows here, then I don't recommend it. It's one of those things. Like if you haven't started smoking, don't start smoking. But yeah, we're fans of it. I've been a fan forever. You can tell by my chins. I've eaten a lot of it, but. Yeah, so we just have a lot of fun. We do talk about food, and these places come out with new things every month. And
you talk about food and the results of eating said food. Spring game.
That's awesome.
John Chancey's going to spring game. Cool, John. I wish I could be there, but I spent 20 minutes saying I'm not going to take anything out of it unless somebody gets injured. So.
Just go on to Clemson.
just go to be at Clemson. All right.
Nice. Thanks.
We're gonna keep it kind of short tonight because we've had a couple of long shows. Casey's had a long day on the road and other stuff going on, so we're gonna keep it short tonight, folks. Casey, why don't you wrap it up for the folks, and I'll hit the magic button at the end.
Sure. Thanks again to everyone for all the comments tonight. John Chancey, Nelson Wilhite, JP Priester. We do appreciate all of them, even from our loyal listeners there. Thanks to everyone in the Facebook group, especially Nelson, for all his help, editing, and support. Everyone on the Seldom Used Reserve page, Sluggo Podcast, Chop and Beef Podcast, and each and every one of you who listens, likes, and shares and participates on behalf of Marty, Seldom Used Reserve. Coleman, I am Casey the Beef.
All right.
First time, too. Thanks so much for joining us this week. We'll see you next week.
Hey, this show is brought to you by New Day USA Mortgage. 5 pieces of mail a week. For me, keeps the post office in business. Next week, Spurtle. Get your Spurtle. I got 3.
I think that sounds pretty good.